Hey there, welcome to the Hot Slice Podcast. This is the podcast by Pizza Today magazine. I am your host, Denise Greer, executive editor with the magazine, and with me is our editor-in-chief, Jeremy White. Hello.
Hey, Denise, good morning.
Good month. We're doing this on a Monday morning. Can I just say that? We are recording this on a Monday. The fact that I have this much energy on a Monday, it says a lot right here.
Hey, my coffee's hitting too. It's kicking in. I'm on a caffeine high right now.
I know. And we right now are so busy. I mean, we have so many things going on, so many great initiatives happening. You know, first of all, your survey is out. It's to you. If you did not get it in your inbox, which check your inbox, check your junk folder, check your spam folder, check everywhere, check your promotions folder if you're on Gmail, and just look for it everywhere. Or it's at pizzatoday.com. I'll put the link in the description. But the survey is very important. It is going to take you a little bit of time. This is not we've had people, just exit out because they're just like, this is too long, but it's an important survey and it's an important metric. And some of the stuff that is the most powerful questions are towards the end. The stuff on like food trends and the stuff on what's happening in the industry next, that's all towards the end of the survey. So please take your time, go through the whole survey because we really want your insights. We really want to know what's happening to you this year so that we can compare it to what happened last year.
Yeah, well said, Denise. And it's really not that long. It's going to take 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
I understand how busy everyone is, in particular pizzeria owners. It's just 15 minutes of your time that's going to allow us to have all the pertinent, most accurate, most up-to-date data so that when we publish the industry report, can truly reflect the most accurate state of the pizza industry as it is today, as well as, most importantly, use that data for analysis and to be able to feed it back to our readers in actionable ways that they can impact their business and run their businesses more efficiently, more profitably. At the end of the day, just do a better job of operating your pizzeria and making more money.
Absolutely. That's what it boils down to. We're here to make you better and to make you more profitable. That's the only reason why we exist. So
help us help you. Take the survey. It won't take that long. Was it 60 questions?
I think 60, maybe 62 questions. But yeah, so it's a great survey. There's a lot of really insightful questions where we're really looking for you for what's really happening out there, because we can project, we can study the market, we can talk to operators, but this gives us a macro scale to look at things. So
and that's not all that's going on, Denise. We are I would say we're planning the Pizza Pasta Northeast show. That would be a flat out lie. It's happening in 5 weeks. It is planned. But we are now leading
up the home stretch
to the kickoff of PPNE. The show takes place October 1st and 2nd at the Atlantic City Convention Center. We've got a great slate of seminars, workshops, demonstrations. We have a show floor that's going to have all the wares, all the services, everything you need as a pizzeria owner to run your business. And we have
Jeremy, so you're the one that's helping put the educational program together. The one thing I'm curious about is workshops, because a lot of people don't know that there are these added fee-based workshops that are super intensive and that really go deep into certain subjects. So can you spend just a minute or two talking about those workshops?
Yeah, absolutely. So the workshops, as you mentioned, they are fee-based, meaning that they do not, when you purchase your pass to attend Pizza Expo, all the demonstrations on the show floor are free. The seminars in the seminar rooms are free. That comes with your pass to get into Pizza Expo. Having said that, we do have some paid workshops. They do carry an additional cost, and that's because they're very in-depth. They're many hours long. And it's like a little college crash course in a particular topic for the day. So we have Nick Bogatz, who is a very astute pizzeria owner in
He's amazing.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He writes a monthly column for Pizza Today. He's as good as they get.
He's a great instructor too, which is very important.
Yeah, that's right. And then Mike Bausch, Again, everything we said about Nick applies to Mike Bausch.
Absolutely.
Mike owns Andolini's Pizzeria, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Andolini's worldwide. He just keeps growing and growing and growing. He gave a super dynamic keynote address at Pizza Expo in Las Vegas right when we came back out of COVID. It was kind of the weird year where Pizza Expo, due to COVID,
was in August.
Yeah, Mike gave what was hands down one of the most entertaining keynote addresses there in August. These gentlemen are as smart as they get. Their knowledge runs deep, and their fee-based workshops at PPNE are worth every single penny. And I highly recommend attending, checking them out. You're not gonna be disappointed with the breadth and the depth of the knowledge. I can't talk today. I've had a bad cold all weekend. You're not going to be disappointed with what you walk away with. So I highly recommend checking them out. If you go to pizzatoday.com, click on PPNE, Pizza and Pasta Northeast, you can register for the show. You can also register to attend the workshops.
That's awesome. And you know what? We're not done talking PPNE today, because our guest is kind of tied to PPNE. Why don't you tell us who we have on the show?
Yeah, our guest today is Melissa Rickman. Melissa owns Wholly Stromboli in Colorado. She, again, we talked about Mike and Nick being dynamic pizzeria owners. Melissa is a very dynamic pizzeria owner. She has made many changes to her business over the years as she has grown and evolved. It's been a learning process, and each iteration of her business, each evolution, just brings in more sales. She's just doing a dynamite business. She's articulate. She's fun to listen to. She's entertaining, and I have no doubt that she's going to deliver a very memorable keynote address.
That's awesome. I can't wait. All right. Well, let's jump in, because Melissa tells some really fun stories and she has really great advice.
Let's get her on.
Looking to grow your pizzeria or restaurant? Then you'll want to try the power of a cloud-based POS system. With Hunger Rush, you'll get everything you need. This fully integrated restaurant management system allows you to easily streamline operations, accelerate the delivery process, and grow your business through Hunger Rush 360 marketing. And it's so easy to use. Want AI-powered text ordering? It's built in. Need to track orders? No problem. Schedule a personalized demo at hungerrush.com today. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. With extraordinary pizza cheese comes extraordinary rewards. Only Baccio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese offers the Gold Club Rewards program with monthly cash back on every cheese purchase. Members also receive funds twice a year to use in their exclusive marketing store. It's their way of saying grazie to customers. Schedule a demonstration at bacciocheese.com/hotslice and discover how rewarding Baccio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese can be. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Baccio.
Melissa, I just want to start off by getting right to probably the most important topic we're going to talk about today, and that is your keynote address at the Pizza Pasta Northeast show in Atlantic City. The show runs October 1st and 2nd at the Atlantic City Convention Center, and you will be giving, like I mentioned, a keynote address. That's really cool. It's a lot of responsibility too. What are you going to talk about?
Oh my gosh. Well, let me first start by saying I was so blown away. I told Bill, he says, "You're giving the keynote. What do you want to talk about?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm pretty sure you are. I really want to talk about standing out in the crowd. Like everybody's journey is so unique. And I think sometimes we're really afraid to embrace that uniqueness. We're like, what if I'm different? What if I do something that everyone hates, right? Or everyone else thinks is crazy. And it can be really scary to do that. It's really easy to do what everyone else is doing. And, you go to Expo and you learn so many great things, but it can be scary to put your own twist on it, right? And putting your own twist on it and bringing everything that you learned through the years, everything that makes you uniquely you, is what makes your business great, which is why certain team members connect with your concept, with your business, and then stretch that out, take that out a next level further, which is why your guests really connect with your brand and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's just really being brave enough to do it. Cause I know, you know, when I released the Doppio Frico pizza, I was so scared. You have no idea. Like I advocated, I'm like, gonna, you know, take it to Italy. And I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna think like this crazy American girl, what the hell is she doing? You know?
Yeah.
But in the end, it's so liberating and so much fun to take an idea from your head and make it real. So it's
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think in your mind makes you stand out or makes your pizzeria stand out?
The name first. I mean, I love that name. So,
well, I mean, that's it, right? The name for sure. I came up with that name when I was 20 years old. I was a bill collector.
wow.
I was pregnant with my son, and the girl across from me was like, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I was like, "I want to own Wholly Stromboli." And she's like, "What? Wait, what is that?" And literally just came up with that name when she asked me.
Really?
And it stuck with me. You know, it stuck with me, like what, 35 when I opened the restaurant, but it's just that putting Stromboli forward, right? Menu forward. In Colorado, people are like, well, what's a Stromboli? I have no idea. You know, we did a lot of like training of people before we even open our doors. So I would just go out and like give people Stromboli, like, hey, try this. What do you think? You know, they have no idea. Like you're in New Jersey, New York, Philly, you know what a Stromboli is. So that was the biggest, most risky thing, was to open a restaurant that featured Strombolis and New York style pizza, because in my area, it just wasn't a big thing. New York style pizza was like, I mean, even Eric, he was like, yeah, New York pizza, pizza's pizza. I'm like,
yeah.
So I think being in a historic 150 or 111-year-old building and restoring that building at the same time, and building the character of the building along with the character of our business, that also makes us a lot different. And in a world where fast casual is more profitable and easier and less headache and worry, I die on that. I won't give it up. We're still going to box up your food at the end of your meal, because I think it's silly to try to do that with a plate, you know, whole table of food, and you're like trying to box everything up and there's no room on the table. And I think when we do that, that makes us stand out. A guy handed me a $5 bill for boxing up his food. And I was like, okay, thank you. It tells me that it is worth something to you, right? And so all those little extra steps that we take to make that dining experience with Wholly Stromboli different and to make you feel like family are the things that set us apart, and are not easy anymore, right? I mean, it would be super easy not to make everything from scratch. It'd be super easy not to have like, you know, 35 menu items. But I that's who we are.
Yeah. The one thing I love about you is you have so much knowledge and you're willing to share it with other people. Here you are, you're in this, small community in Colorado, and you're doing your own thing, but on a national level and even an international level, you're willing to, share, whether it's through our magazine, the show, even, I know people have just contacted you to share your knowledge. What kind of drives you to want to be an industry leader and, help everybody out?
Well, it starts back to when I was just thinking about it. I mean, I remember Eric and I would walk into a pizzeria and I'd be kind of like craning my neck into the kitchen, like looking back, what kind of oven does he have? Like, I wonder, and then, the owner would pop his head out, and he'd be like, can I help? And I'm like, oh, I'm just wondering what kind of oven you have. We're thinking about opening a pizza. Well, come on back. Like, let me show you. There was a guy in Brighton, which is just a town over. And it's like, well, just hang out with me for a few days. I'll show you. And I was like, you're kidding me. I'm pretty sure if I was opening a steakhouse, the steakhouse guy wouldn't have been like,
no.
I'll show you the ropes. Like, and then you take that a step further. When I went to my first Pizza Expo, which I told Eric, I was like, this is crazy, but there's this whole trade show about pizza. And I saw like, Tony G and Joe Carlucci on it. They're like amazing. I saw this like 10 years ago. I want to go. And we went, and I was bowled over in awe by everybody who shared everything. Like, dough recipe, you want a dough recipe? I'll give you my sauce recipe. Like, I'll help you, And I thought, what an amazing industry. Whether it was the dough classes that we went to or everything else that we learned at the show. And it just felt like, because those people had helped me cut my teeth and learn what I needed to do to be successful, that I needed to pass that on. Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough, operating a restaurant.
Yeah.
So why not make it less hard to help the people coming behind you? And also, look, if people are doing smart things that aren't easy, then my job's easier. Because if I'm the only one doing the hard things, then my customers just think I'm an ass. But if I'm holding a standard for myself and I'm saying, hey, this is my menu, this is how we operate, this is what you can have, this is how I can help you, and other operators do that, then I'm not just like the Lone Ranger. And so there's a little bit of selfishness in it, that like, if raise the bar and everybody is holding a standard for themselves, then it's better for all of us.
I love
Definitely.
that. That is so good.
I want to talk to you about your experience with customers, because you're really great with your customers. I remember early on, you wrote an article, one of your first articles you wrote for us. You talked about how when you converted to online ordering, you had some older customers who were just flat out angry that they couldn't just pick up the phone and leave a voicemail that I want my large sausage, blah, blah, blah. And you had to kind of train them to embrace online ordering. After COVID, everyone was just thrilled to death that restaurants are open. We can go out again. We can sit down. And so everybody's happy to be out, and everybody's very nice and friendly. Well, now we're getting back to everyone's angry all the time again if my food's not hot and at the table in 5 minutes. Talk a little bit about how things are going these days in terms of customer service.
People can be rough.
Yeah.
I often say that we're lucky, because I'm not the least expensive place. I'm not the most expensive place, but you have to have some disposable income to come to my restaurant. And so I like to think that it kind of keeps folks who don't get what we're about from coming, right? I don't want everybody to come. I want you to get what I'm doing. That being said, I'll just tell you a story because it explains it the best. I was helping out, and I had a full glass rack from the bar, and I was taking over to the wait station, and I heard this guy swearing and cussing, because we only seat complete parties. That's the only way I can do it. And if I'm explaining, I'm losing. So, that's whatever. So, I have this full glass rack, and he yelled at my host. He yelled like, my host is like this 16-year-old girl. And I stopped and I said, I'm sorry, what's the problem? And have this glass rack in my hand. I just stopped. And the woman was like, well, this is BS, not in such nice words. And I don't see why you can't just sit us and just, ripping me a new tush. And I said to her, and then all of a sudden my GM comes, he swoops the glass rack away from me. Right. And
you're like, all right.
In this bubble, I'm not even paying attention to anybody except for I am locked. Like, why are you treating my people like this? And I just explained, like, I don't expect you to understand how I operate my business. Here's the deal. My job is to run a great business, a sound business where we take care of everybody. Your job is to enjoy it. You can choose not to. I wasn't rude. And then there was more, and I, won't go into it, but anyway, I stayed close, because I that's my daughter, and I'm pretty sure you want your daughter treated that way.
Yeah.
So it's really funny because through the course of the night, it was like, it spread around the restaurant. Did you see Melissa? She stood up for the host, like, and all of a sudden, like, it grew, next thing you know, like, boxing. But it was so funny, like, for days the team kept coming after, we heard what you did, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
My job is to take care of my guests, but it's also take care of my team.
Yeah.
So
you have a standard of conduct, and that goes to whoever is in your restaurant.
Exactly. And I think it's super scary to fire customers.
Yeah.
but we have to be willing to do it sometimes to protect our team, because we
Right.
know how hard they are to come by, and also to protect
Mhm.
the guest experience for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well
you may have
said.
won over some new guests with that, though. You know, the willing to, you know, stick by your guns. So I
I
love
have gotten a standing ovation before. I will.
that.
So while we're
So,
talking online ordering, you have really grown a pretty robust business via your online ordering mechanisms. Talk a little bit about that, why it's so important to your business, what percentage of your sales are coming from online ordering, and how you grew it to where it is.
It was rough at first. I mean, I played you that voicemail of the guy cussing me out, right? So we're, before COVID, I'll back up a little bit. We were less than 10%
Okay.
sales were takeout. And I enjoy it that way.
Yeah.
I don't do third-party delivery. I don't do any delivery.
Yeah.
I really focus on the in-house experience, because I'm selling $15 pours of whiskey. I've got a bottle of Amarone in the cellar. You're not taking that home. And so
Yeah.
I focus on the in-house experience. So enter COVID. I still didn't have online ordering during COVID, because I mean, we're also a destination, so you're not driving 40 minutes each way to get takeout, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, who cares? Well, then after COVID, after they reopened us and we were like 25%, 50%, the phones were ringing off the hook. I mean, it was obnoxious. And I had to have 5 people on, and I had to buy more phones. I was like, I'm paying all these people to take these phone orders. This is asinine. Like,
Yeah.
I had to fix this. And so I was like, I guess, let's just try online ordering, because we're, being in a historic building and having old fashioned values doesn't really lend itself to guest facing technology. We love technology, but it's in the background. It makes us efficient. So I was like, we got to try something. So we'll do the online ordering. And wow, like the peace and quiet that happens in the restaurant because the phone isn't ringing. The very nice person that calls at like 6 o'clock on Friday night, and they're like, what kind of Strombolis do you have? Right? That kind of thing that taxes your team, makes them frustrated, and makes your in-house frustrated.
Yeah.
So it's like the tactical side. The other side of it is that if you look at phone sales versus online sales, you're looking at like, I'm telling you, if I say that our ticket average for online orders versus over the phone orders is like about $8 to $10 higher per person,
Wow.
it's incredible. Because if I'm on the phone with you, I'm like, and would you like to add? And would you like to add? They're going to look up on you, right? Shut up. But if you build your platform, right? If you build your online ordering menu correctly, it will auto suggest things for you. So if you order in Stromboli, it's like, hey, do you want more sauce? And you can have this kind. And oh, wait, how about a salad? And it's not annoying. It's just kind of like with Amazon. You're like, oh, I didn't even, yeah, I want that. And so, so my adoption rate is much higher now. If the phone rings in store, it's odd.
Yeah.
And it's somebody who probably is driving and they can't order online at that point. But it's been a game changer for us. And so now I think all told, takeout sales can be like 15 to 17% of sales. But since COVID, sales have increased. I mean, year over year, over 12%. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a bigger slice.
Something I'm curious about is, when you made the switch to online ordering, and because you're so in-house focused on dining, from an ops perspective, how did you make that adjustment to having both the influx of online ordering coming in and your dine-in, especially at peak times? Or were there times when you were like, hey, we got to pause online ordering, this is crazy? How did you balance, and how is it now that you've kind of streamlined everything?
Well, it was rough at first. And I always feel like I want to be honest with other operators, because I'm like, it's all dogs and ponies.
No, it's not.
For one, you feel like a loser because you're like, how come Melissa figured it out and I can't? And, and the other thing is like, it makes you feel better. Like, oh, I'm not the only one. That's great. So it was a crap show. It was terrible. And, you know, your managers don't always have the presence of mind when the weeds to go in, log in and hit, you know, let's push out times a little bit further on ordering, or even turn it off.
Yeah.
And so we were running into issues where we were putting ourselves on an artificial wait. And I wasn't there. I was off for the day. They would put us on an artificial wait at the door because online orders were, you know, just too many. And we couldn't handle both. And I'm like, what? Time out. Like, in-house guests come first. That's our bread and butter. That's what we do. And so we pause online ordering. And so helping them learn when it was okay to do that.
Yeah.
You know, who gets to decide who does that? Wine cook who drank too much the day before? No.
No.
Like, you gotta have, you know, you gotta have a GM, or you gotta have the manager on duties really paying attention. And so we had to build ourselves a threshold. So if, you know, if we're looking, you know, we have a KDS. And so for us, dough side really, for the most part, drives our ticket times, because I can knock out a pasta in 3 minutes, right? Pasta is easy. I've got hot sauce, I've got parboiled pasta, I can throw that pretty fast. But no matter what you do with Stromboli, it takes 8 minutes in the oven to bake.
Yeah. And you only have so much room in that oven too.
Enzo is struggling. I gotta talk to some folks this year at Pizza Expo. He's rough, but I love him. Hope he doesn't hear that. But and I hope I'm not the only one who named their pizza oven. But yeah, so we're, you know, you can only pack so many Strombolis in there, and sometimes we're stacked, which means we can't fit any more in the oven. And so dough side really dictates ticket times. So if we've got 3 screens on dough side, you probably need to pause online ordering, and that's just kind of how we've you know, set it up, I guess you would say.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I did want to talk about your building, because I love that it tells a story itself, and it's part of your journey, and it's part of you as a destination. So tell me about this, like, because you're doing this work. It's not like you're, you know, like, you guys are doing the work. Like, I see these videos and photos of y'all out there with hammers and chisels and doing things. So like, tell us about this revitalization of this building, and how you, and where you want to take it.
So it's 111 years old, and yes, we are doing a lot of the work ourselves. Not just because we enjoy it, because we do. Like, Eric and I are working, and we're doing a lot of, like, high-end finishes, which we don't trust other people to do. But it's hard to find great contractors. You know, Eric's with me full time now, so it allows us to do more of it ourselves. But it's an amazing building. The guy who built the place has the same birthday I do, New Year's Eve. We're both New Year's Eve babies. And we both had this, like, vision. His was a mercantile and my restaurant. And he was quoted in the Colorado history books as saying that he wanted to make his mercantile so amazing that people would come from all over, which is oddly the same exact thing that I told Eric. Like, it's so great that people can come from all over. And then I started doing research on the guy, and I'm like, he said the same thing. That's creepy. But event,
or destined.
And I would say that that building is lucky that I love it, and that Eric loves me, because it's a lot. You know, there were not building codes, you know, not too many years ago. And so people did a lot of things that were detrimental to the building. So a lot of it is undoing that. And a lot of it is making the building a restaurant, you know, because it was like office space, it was a mercantile, it was a lot of different things, but never a restaurant. And so basically, you know, we finished up the veranda. I'm sure you guys have seen pictures of that. My office will be part of the bar. It's temporary. We're going to move our office upstairs and have like a mezzanine office, expand the bar. We're looking for like an antique bar back for the speakeasy. We have a temporary one right now. Yeah. And then really my big vision, what I'm most excited about, is the original entrance to the building is on the south. And I want to make that like Italian market feel.
Yeah.
And you walk in, there's a gelateria, there's an espresso bar. We'll have a dedicated
Nice.
place for takeout because right now it's killing my bartenders.
Yeah.
And really in we always joke because I think, you know, we have this Manhattan feel, right? Like I
Mhm.
have a little street scene in the middle of my restaurant was like a fruit stand and it looks like Central Park. And so I say to Eric, I want the front of the store to be Hoboken, you know.
Mhm.
So when you walk in, you feel like you walk into an Italian place in Hoboken. And he's like,
Yeah.
that's cool. It just won't pick up the trash. And I was like, oh, you're so awful. Like, why does everybody pick on us New Jersey people? But yeah, so that's kind of the feel that we want to have up front. And we're probably about 2 years out. You know, even
Yeah.
if we hired everything out,
Yeah.
contractors are very nice.
Yeah.
So how
speaking of
much,
Eric-
oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Denise. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, how much of the space right now is unused that you'll be able to tap into that?
Boy, all told about 3,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Holy
There's
cow.
about 1,000 downstairs and 2,000 upstairs.
Jeez.
Nice.
That's a lot of potential up there.
And I'm so excited for it. It's just going to be really neat. I really want Wholly Stromboli to be, you know, I had to make a decision a couple of years ago. And it was, do I make Wholly Stromboli everything I want it to be? Like this. And don't take this the wrong way, but like you remember like Cracker Barrel back when I was a kid in the 70s was this cool experience where you're like, oh my gosh. And you went to Cracker Barrel, it's like, oh, and there was like so many things to feast your eyes on. And
Yeah.
every time you went, you saw something different. That's my Wholly Stromboli. But I had to decide, am I going to follow that dream or am I going to open more stores? Right.
Yeah.
And one day I was still kind of in the process of deciding that. And I saw John Arena and I told him, I said, I don't know if he's gonna kill me for for telling the story, but I said, you inspire me, like you're my like you just inspire me. And he said, well, why is that? And I said, well, look all these stores you have and you know, you just like it's just amazing. And he goes, you inspire me. He's like, do you know how often Chris and I think about just like the one store? And you know, it's like us and our pizza oven, right? And not all other stuff. And he's like, think about that. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And I thought, okay, you know, we're profitable, right? We make money, we live good. We're not rich, you know, but we can take care of ourselves and our family. We have to give back to our community. Do I want another set of fixed expenses and overhead and more people? I don't know. So you know, I'm 50 now. The building should be done and the whole concept done in about 2 years. We'll see how I feel in 2 years.
We'll bring you back on the podcast. We're gonna be like do the big unveiling announcement of how you go.
And given the fact that like restaurant years are like dog years.
Right. I love it. I love it. I remember having that conversation with you at Pizza Expo, I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 years ago. We were having a drink at the bar, myself, you, your husband, Eric, a couple others, and we are just having some conversations about the business. And I remember you telling me that exact story. You were like, I'm at the point, which way do I want to go? Do I want to max out one store or do I want to add a second, potentially a third, a fourth down the line? You told me about your conversation with John Arena. And I remember that. I think you made the right choice because you are dialed in and you're killing it. You're doing a very robust business. So kudos to you.
You know, and I would say that to other operators, like there is a certain amount of pressure when you go to like I just a user conference and all these people have multiple locations and I just have one, you know, and I was probably one of the very few and just had one. And there is pressure and it does make you second guess yourself like, oh, am I really successful? Because I only have one store and everyone else, you go to Pizza Expo and these guys have 3, 4, like some people, and then 8 months later have 3 locations. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? And I would say to other operators, you're not doing anything wrong. Follow your own heart and your own path. And if you're successful and you're doing well, do you. Don't do because everyone else is doing it. And that's that part of being uniquely you, right?
Yeah. And we've seen
Great advice.
instances where people don't grow like they want to, like they add that second and third store within a couple years, and then what happens is they find out the second and third aren't as profitable as the first, so they backslide, they close one, they focus on the two, and then they just try to figure it out as they go. So I mean, it's, you know, it's hard any go around, whether it's one store, two stores, 10 stores. It's a tough business.
Mhm.
Oh
You
yeah.
gotta have the capital, you've got to have the people, or else it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
You're
So
pretty.
I have one question. I have a question for you, and that we'll probably slide out on that because we've held you for a little while. And that is, so you've been to Pizza Expo a lot. You've been to PPNE. You know, what was your favorite keynote address, and what did you learn from it to go into your keynote?
Okay. No. Oh no. I know her name. Shoot. Okay. She was probably about like, she was Pizza Expo. She was about like 3 or 4 years ago.
Was it
Gosh.
Annie Kim?
And
Yes.
Kim?
Okay.
And Kim.
I figured
She made
she
me
was
cry.
great.
I loved her. I love that she said the F word, because I say the F word, but
Yeah.
she was so real. I loved how she shared her story in a way that was so relatable. She didn't get up there and be like, I did this and everything's great, because that's not the world we live in. Like,
Mm-mm.
I do the things I tell everyone else to do, and sometimes it falls apart. Like, it doesn't always go like we planned. And so her story was everything from like challenge to perseverance. I think she said her parents kind of disowned her because they didn't want her to own a pizzeria or a restaurant. They had bigger dreams for her. And I just, it was a keynote to remember for a lifetime.
Yeah, it was outstanding, no
Yeah.
doubt. That's a great one to draw inspiration from.
Yeah, I definitely walked away from that one, and I'm like, and Kim, you are an inspiration. I don't own a pizzeria, but it like made me wanting to be better just at what I do. You know, that's the great thing about it. If you have no matter who your audience is, if you're telling a great story about your motivation and how you are doing and what you're doing, and show passion with it, like people are gonna have stuff resonate no matter what business they're in.
And yes, and you know, Eric was like, if you can leave people feeling the way that she did, then, you know, it would be a success, right? He's like, I hope that that's what you can do. And I hope so. I hope so. You never know. Like, not everyone you, and especially like when you're giving a seminar and like someone's yawning, they're like, oh God, they're yawning. Am I boring them? Oh my God, they left. And you're like, geez, oh my God. So it's a hard thing to do, but I enjoy it so much. It's my favorite part of the business, honestly, is just sharing with others.
You're going to kill it. I have no doubt. I cannot wait to sit in and listen to your keynote.
Absolutely. You got what, a little over a month and a week or two. So we can't wait. A little over a month, but so we can't wait to see what you bring to the table. You know, we're going to be front row center. So we're excited.
Thank you for trusting me and for giving me the opportunity. I know it's a big honor and it's a big responsibility, but I'm so grateful for it.
Awesome. Well, we will see you at PPNE.
Yes, we will. Okay.
Thanks, Melissa.
All right. Thanks, Melissa.
See ya.
Bye.